welcome to the Ford SVT Contour. What an interesting car this is. I've always wanted to drive one, so that's what we're gonna do today. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a Ford SVT Contour. The Contour is such a weird car. Essentially, the Contour was a mass-produced car that was for the masses, and a lot of people could afford it. And the memory of the Contour that I have is that I did my driver's test in a Contour that had 350,000 miles. So basically my memory is of one falling apart, squeaking, rattling, and all that good stuff. However, this is much different. This is the SVT Special Vehicles Team Contour, and yes, they built this car. This is a real car. It is not made up. He did not just put badges on this thing and say, yeah, dude, it's an SVT. They also made another unorthodox car that was the SVT Focus. Before the days of having the Focus ST and the Focus RS, that was the performance version of the Focus. It had a beefier engine, and this did as well. This is a 2.5 liter V6 Duratec engine, and Cosworth actually helped out with it a little bit. And it actually sounds pretty good. It's not that raspy, it's not overly obnoxious, and this also has stainless steel catback exhaust on a Contour. And so this car pulled into the VMP Performance open house we had today, and I saw it instantly and was like, I have to drive this. I have to drive this car. So I asked nicely, and the owners were cool enough to let me drive it. What's really interesting is that the Contour, when it's just the normal beater Contour, man, did I think they were ugly. I really thought they were not good looking cars. I really didn't think anything of it. But with the very subtle changes that they've made to this SVT, I actually like how it looks, which made me ask myself, should I like this car? Or should I be ashamed? The Contour was a commuter car, but was not known for performance. It's front wheel drive, but wait, there's more. There's rear wheel steering involved with this car. When you get to a certain wheel speed to a certain point, this had rear wheel steering. Some of the only cars of the same era were the 4th gen Prelude and things of that nature. But this is front wheel drive. It has a 5-speed transmission. This also has a B&M short shifter with this 5-speed transmission that came with this car. The V6 is a very smooth engine, but when you go anything beyond the modifications that this car has, reliability does come into, well, jeopardy. The Contour itself has been known as a fairly reliable car, but as long as you took care of it. This is the days of Ford, though, where you're kind of flipping a coin if you got a good car or not. However, this one, its dash, its interior, and everything is almost flawless. For how old this car is, it is comfortable. This car is comfortable. No wonder they sold so well. I could drive this car forever, and it wouldn't be a big deal. The steering wheel feels like it's pretty much from a Crown Victoria. The dash and everything else has a few parts bin things, but he has carbon fiber around his gauges, and then you have to remember what you're driving. The 5-speed transmission, all this stuff kind of comes together, and the fact that it's a manual in the first place blows my mind. I got in this car thinking it would be an auto, but it's really cool that Ford made this a manual transmission car. The 98 like this car made 195 horsepower to the crank. The later models made around 200, but this is the model with the 195 horsepower. And what kind of 195 horsepower does it feel like? Well, it's not bad. Wow, that was my first pull in this car. And it makes a pretty pleasant sound. It has this sound of the old days. It sounds like a high revving old V6 that you'd find in a lot of different cars, but it does not sound bad. It does not sound overly raspy. It sounds very deep with this stainless steel exhaust. This also has a flash tune, so it adds a little bit more power. So I guess you could say that this car has full bolt-ons at the end of the day. It also has little touches like iridium spark plugs and spark plug wires and stuff of that nature to just kind of give it a little bit extra of a push, and also to run smoother and run better. Another really nice touch I love about this thing is that it has the 2017 normal Focus wheels on it. So essentially, it's of an era near now, put on a car that's really old. And it actually suits the car really well. With this silver color really pops very nicely. And with the really big, long red taillight, it actually looks like it's in place. It's pretty nice. We got Mustang Lifestyle behind us in his turbocharged Bullet Mustang, and he's letting the driver of the Contour drive the Bullet. He's never driven anything faster. That's pretty cool. Contour power! I've given it all she's got, Captain! Oh, the smell of old Ford. What's so great about cars in this era is the passion behind SVT. They were willing to touch anything. They really wanted to make a name for themselves, and it wasn't until the Terminator Cobra came out that they were really taken seriously by most of the community. SVT made the Cobra R. That, you know what? I'll say the Cobra R is when people started to really notice, in my opinion. But when it came to the SVT name, most people didn't know it until then. But in '98, with this car, what a peculiar car, man, to choose to mess with and have fun. Because when you look at the engine, it really does remind me of the Taurus SHO's engine, the first generation one. Because that was a Yamaha built engine that was actually designed for a mid-engine sports car that Ford was going to build. It never came through because the Ford Explorer was a priority, and so therefore all these motors were laying around. So with all those motors laying around, they didn't know what to do with them. So they put them in the Taurus and called it the Taurus SHO. And that's where a lot of these really quirky, weird cars that Ford has built, it's similar stories like that. And that's why the story behind the Contour I find is so interesting, that they just decided to go out there and say, we're gonna make a better version of a commuter car. Why not? When you think of performance, you don't think about the Ford Contour. Let's be real here. But the fact is that you can definitely make this an autocross car. The front wheel drive in first and second gear has some torque, and that gives you the notorious torque steer, and that makes you go, oh wow, I guess this thing does have some guts to it. And these cars are super light too, so therefore it's pretty fun to drive. I'm actually pretty impressed. Even though it probably looks slow on camera, it's still pretty fun. Like, just hearing the thing rev out, hearing all that, it's just a good time. It's just so silly. Duratec power. I honestly can't believe how mean this car looks too. I am in utter shock. It literally has the meanest looking headlights because they added this front lip they bought off eBay for like $9. And that is what made this car look a little bit better. Oh yeah, did I also mention that this car has headers? It has literally a header all the way to the catback exhaust. That's so cool. Like, who does that? And what's funny is when you bring this kind of car to a car meet, yeah, it's not the fastest car, but it's quirky and weird. And quirky and weird is really fun to look at. When you go to a car show and you see quirky and weird, that's my favorite. You can see every sports car in the world for a long time, and then eventually you're like, okay, what else is out there that I don't know about? And I highly recommend looking into SVT's very strange past. I would just like to say that the brakes are not that confidence inspiring. I will say that. However, they do bite pretty good once you're all the way in the pedal, but the pedal feel is very soft. You hit it a little bit and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna slow down. Oh wait, are we gonna slow down? I don't know. All right guys, I wanna thank each and every one of you for watching this video about the SVT Contour. I actually had a pretty fun time just kind of cruising around in it, driving and just kind of talking about it. And what a weird experience. Like, it's so interesting how a car that looks like this sounds like this. It's just fun to rev out. You're not gonna get in trouble, I promise. When you're getting the front end swaying like this, that's pretty impressive. I really wish I did my driving test in the SVT Contour and not the normal one, because that car was boring and it was terrible. And like I said, had over 300,000 miles on it. So I'm gonna leave off the question to you. What do you guys think about the extremely strange, but extremely cool, in my opinion, quirky SVT Contour? Would you be excited to see one of these in person, or would you just not care at all? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. And on that note, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I will see you guys next time, and take it easy. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.